All right, welcome everyone to today's 1 hour recorded, this is live, but I'm recording it for you, Prevention Plus Wellness webinar. My name is Dr. Chudley Merchant. I'm president and founder at PBW, located here in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. Today's topic, as you can see, it's the kitchen sink. Integrating alcohol, marijuana, vaping, e-cigarettes, and even opioid use prevention with wellness. So this is really a compilation or reorganization and update of a lot of our webinars, some of our more popular webinars. If you've joined us before, you'll probably see a lot of the same, a lot of the same content. So if you feel like it's repetitive, you don't have to stay with us. But if you are new or you've only been with us recently, I think you're going to find lots and lots of content here. So this is really going to be active. I mean, we've got a lot of slides here, more slides than we really should try to present in an hour, but I'm going to do it. So you're going to have a lot of content, but nothing to worry about because I'm going to send everybody who's registered, everybody who's attending a PDF of the slides for today. And because I'm recording it later on today, probably tomorrow at the latest, I'll send everyone a link to the recorded session. So you're welcome to review and share widely in your region, your state, your nation, whatever you want, the slides and the recording of this webinar, because I think it's really good when we cover some really, really important content. And just to give you a heads up, we have a webinar tomorrow as well, same time, on some of the great outcomes that the results from prevention and health providers who partner with us at Prevention Plus Wellness. So let's jump right in because we've got a lot of content, so fasten your seatbelts. We're going to go through a lot within this hour. 3 objectives today. You can see what they are. We're going to explore why it's so critical for prevention programs to address more than just substance use, which is so critical for youth and young adults, but target more broadly wellness behaviors. Secondly, we're going to review the research, the theory, even the practice supporting the use of brief interventions and those particularly that integrate substance use prevention with wellness. And then thirdly, I'm going to give you some actual examples, lots and lots of examples of how we've been able to take messages and strategies that integrate marijuana, e-cigarettes, alcohol, and even opioid prevention, and integrate that with wellness messaging and strategies for use both in person with young people as well as online. So let's start out and take a look at some data that you prevention specialists, I'm sure, are well aware of and familiar with. This is ever using substance use. This is the most recent data from the Youth Risk Behavior Survey data in the United States, 2019, high school adolescents throughout the country. And so you can see here very quickly that the most prevalent substance abuse, which has been the case for as long as I've been in this field, for decades and decades, that is alcohol use. 6 out of 10 high school adolescents have reported using alcohol sometime. Over half have now have reported vaping, e-cigarettes, and that's followed by over a third using marijuana, and then cigarettes, and then opioids. At the same time, the same data set, Youth Risk Behavior Survey data, 2019 for all high school adolescents throughout the U.S. This is the percentage of behaviors. These are other health risks. You can call these chronic disease risk behaviors because these can result in the development over time of chronic disease among young people. And you can see they're even more prevalent because we have 3 or 4 adolescents not getting 8 hours of sleep each night. Some need 9, some need 10. So that's a chronic issue. Over 2 to 3 are drinking soda. It's amazing how many, 41, 42%, are having only 1 or less than 1 vegetable and fruit a day, which are so critical to health. Only a third are eating breakfast every morning. etc. So you can see physical inactivity, less than a quarter getting the physical activity they required every day, and that is an hour every day. So now let's take a look at some of the relationships between these wellness behaviors and substance use and then mental health. But first of all, let's take a look at adolescent wellness behaviors and substance use. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at the proxy measure of ever marijuana use. You can look at some of the other substances, but it would take so much time. So we'll just focus on one, and that is ever using marijuana. Again, this data, 2019 youth risk behavior survey data, high school students throughout the country. And you can see the relationship here, and I'm going to show these relationships. These are all statistically significant relationships, meaning that they're not likely to be just by chance. And so you can see that if you take a look at the far left-hand corner, actually, let me see if I might be able to help you with this. Let's see, if you take a look at right here, there you go, I love that. It's fun to draw. So even at my age. So you can see that this is for those that are not watching 3 or more hours of TV, the percentage of them ever using marijuana is less than those getting more television time. So not watching so much TV seems to be in favor of less marijuana use. And then, let's clear that. I guess I have to undo. And then, oh, okay. Got to learn how to play with these toys that you have on Zoom. Not playing, did not play 3 more hours of video games. Same kind of a relationship. If you look to the far left, 35% of those who didn't play spent a lot of time playing video games, reported ever using marijuana versus 39% of those who are playing. So again, less video playing, less television associated with less ever using marijuana. How about the wellness behavior of eating breakfast every day? So if you ate breakfast every day in the last 7 days, 27% of those eating breakfast reported marijuana use, 41%, quite a bit higher of those who aren't eating breakfast used marijuana. So you can see that difference. Let me just hang on a second. I'm gonna do something. There's a little dot there. There's a little dot on my screen that's bugging me. Okay, drinking milk, a protective wellness behavior associated with less marijuana use, 34% versus almost 39% of those who aren't drinking milk. Not drinking soda, if you don't drink soda, 32% use marijuana, 39% for those that do drink soda. Same as getting 80 more hours of sleep. This is a rather strong relationship. Here you can see 28% of those who aren't getting sleep use marijuana, whereas 39% of those who are not getting enough sleep use marijuana. So what can we conclude from this? Well, these wellness behaviors, which are essentially indicators of physical activity, i.e. screen time, nutrition, sleep, were all associated with less likelihood of ever using marijuana among high school adolescents in the United States. Thus, the conclusion or the recommendation is that by targeting the promotion of wellness behaviors within prevention programs and strategies and campaigns, we can actually increase the overall onset, the overall enhancement of health, in addition to perhaps preventing substance use. Let's take a look at a similar kind of a relationship, but similar but a little bit different, because now we're going to look at adolescent wellness behaviors instead of substance use. We're going to look at mental health, and we're going to look at the proxy measure of mental health, which is feeling sad or hopeless. Again, 2019 youth risk behavior survey data. I ran these analyses on their online data set. All of you can do the same thing. It's the data that's, oops, sorry about that. Hang on a second. Looks like I stopped sharing the screen. Let me stop here for a second. There we go. If I'm too quick with my little cursor, sometimes I'll click on the wrong thing. All right, back to sharing screen. So anybody can hop on the CDC, that Centers for Disease Control and Prevention site, and access these. It's YMBS analysis tool and the most recent data 2019. And we're looking again at high school adolescents throughout the country. So we're looking at now wellness behaviors and their relationship to mental health. And the indicator that we're looking at is feeling sad or hopeless. And we can see that there's a significant, all of these are statistically significant relationships, associations with 60 minutes of physical activity associated with less sadness and hopelessness, 30% versus those not getting physical activity, quite a bit more, 42%. You see that relationship from the far left to the right column. I've got them highlighted in yellow for you. Statistically significant association. Same with not watching TV, again, another indicator of screen time, another indicator, if you will, of physical activity or sedentary living at least. And that is, again, not watching 10 more hours of TV. Those individuals less reporting of feeling sad and hopeless. Same with not playing 3 more hours of video games. 32% of those not playing reported sadness and hopelessness versus about 43% of those who do play more video games. Eating breakfast last 7 days. Quite a bit of a relationship here, quite a strong relationship. You've got 25% of those who eat breakfast every day reporting sadness and hopelessness versus about 43% who are not eating a regular breakfast. Drinking milk, again, associated with less hopelessness and sadness. Not drinking soda, same thing. Getting 8 more hours of sleep, pretty strong relationship here. You have 24% of those getting 8 more hours of sleep reporting sadness and hopelessness. Almost 41% of those not getting enough sleep reporting sadness and hopelessness as a measure of mental health, or non-mental health, I should say. Then what we did was we ran the same analyses with a second measure of mental health, that is seriously considering suicide. And same thing, we found the same significant relationships with all of these 7 wellness behaviors. Getting 60 minutes of physical activity 5 days a week or more, not watching video games 3 more hours, not watching 2 more hours of TV, eating breakfast, drinking milk, not drinking soda, getting 8 more hours of sleep. All of those were associated with less likelihood of seriously considering suicide. So we can conclude that wellness behaviors were associated, these wellness behaviors were associated with physical activity, nutrition, sleep, etc. They're associated with less sadness and hopelessness, less seriously considering suicide. And so the recommendation is, I think, pretty clear from, at least from our perspective, and that is by addressing wellness behaviors, you're likely to not just improve physical health, but also mental health of your youth. So another case for integrating wellness behaviors within prevention programs. Another way to look at this is to look at the overall benefits of healthy lifestyle. Research shows that healthy lifestyle, one that consists of plenty of sleep, regular physical activity, eating nutritious sleep, is associated with less depression and anxiety, something that we've already seen in the data we just looked at on safe sex, and less alcohol, tobacco, and drug use, which we also saw in the relationships that we ran with the CDC data. Healthy lifestyle is also associated with improved physical and mental health and self-reported quality of life, or positive, number 3, positive self-image, self-esteem, self-control, confidence, etc. greater brain development and cognitive functioning, more likely to make friends, greater academic success, so very important to young people, as measured by less suspensions, greater attendance, less dropouts, and more likelihood to attend and complete college. And of course, lastly, healthy lifestyles associated with less chronic disease development, and that's all of those diseases under number 7, heart disease, diabetes, stroke, obesity, etc. There was a very important longitudinal studies, over time study of adolescent risk behaviors published in 2016, which focused on and found multiple health risks are very common among U.S. adolescents. Only 4.2% of adolescents studied throughout the country met all 8 health behavior guidelines, and yet over 10% had 5 or more risk behaviors at age 16. And 16 is relatively young, and I think you can be safe to assume that by age 18 and even to 21, those numbers of risk factors would increase. Under number 4 of the study shows that not eating fruit, not eating vegetables, not eating breakfast, being overweight or obese, physically inactive, and smoking all predicted individually other risk behaviors. So the researchers included prevention targeting multiple risk behaviors is needed. So this was a longitudinal study of adolescent risk behaviors. So one question you could ask is, what's the efficacy? What's the effectiveness of implementing or addressing multiple risks rather than a single risk? And I'm not saying the single risk programs are important, those targeting alcohol or e-cigarettes or marijuana or physical activity, but what's the effectiveness of addressing all of them? Well, there was a review of interventions. I like the reviews because they look at multiple studies. And they looked at multiple interventions that were evaluated back in 2018 and found that one time, multi-health consultations and group sessions decreased adolescent substance use. So that the authors concluded that school-based interventions targeting multiple health behaviors can be both effective and efficient way to decrease youth substance use. So all of this data that I've just shared with you is how we came about with what we call our integrative and interconnected model for promoting youth wellness. So if you look at the model on the left-hand side, you got the blue ball, that's substance use prevention, I should say. Below that, in the green ball, you've got healthy behavior promotion. So I think the research is quite clear that by doing both, by connecting, by integrating the substance use prevention messages and the health promotion messages, you add those together, you combine those, you address those together, you can follow that arrow to the right, you're likely to achieve that big red ball, which is improved mental and physical health. And of course, if you improve mental and physical health, that's likely to go back and also improve substance use and health, and also the prevention of substance use and the promotion of healthy behavior. So it's a synergistic, circular type of a model that we propose for addressing youth wellness. But it starts with integrating substance use prevention with healthy behavior promotion. So what is now to shift gears now? So we're now going to look at the SBI, screening and brief intervention. So let's look at the effectiveness. What does the research show? There was a great review of screening and brief interventions for youth and young adults back in 2015. And that showed that screening and brief interventions were effective for up to a year after receipt for both adolescents and young adults. Under number 2, our own research has shown that prevention plus wellness programs, which are screening and brief interventions, we found effects for both adolescents and young adults a year after a single prevention plus wellness lesson. That's particularly with our sport youth program and our In Shape young adult program. And then there was a nice, I think, an important review article back in 2016 that highlighted the fact that brief interventions hold great promise to expand services to a wide range of youth in diverse settings. So really, there's great hope for both the effectiveness and the potential of reach for screening and brief interventions. Why? Screening brief interventions are considered evidence-based practices by a whole range of federal, national, and international organizations, including SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration. In fact, they've come up with devised their own model for screening and brief intervention called SBIRT, Screening, Brief Intervention, Referral to Treatment. CDC also supports alcohol screening and brief intervention in primary care settings. World Health Organization supports alcohol screening and brief intervention. National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism supports alcohol screening and brief intervention for youth. The American Academy of Pediatrics supports SBIRT, that's again screening, brief intervention, referral to treatment for youth. And NIDA, the National Institute of Drug Abuse, supports adolescent substance use screening for screening and brief intervention. Let's take a look at screening and brief intervention, a particular kind of screening and brief intervention, that is prevention plus wellness programs. All prevention plus wellness programs are screening and brief intervention. It consists of 3 steps. Step 1, screening for their current health habits, substance use, as well as protective wellness behaviors. That's designed to get youth to become aware of their specific health behaviors. Step 2, you provide feedback on each of those behaviors, use positive image messages. This is designed to cue or trigger unconscious images the youth have of themselves in the future. Be more fit, active, healthy, successful. This increases motivation for change. And then, of course, linking how substance use is harmful to those protective behaviors and those benefits and those outcomes and those desired images to look and feel better. Third is to present a goal plan and contract to youth, walk them through a multi-behavior contract. This is what's unique about prevention plus wellness contracts, not just avoiding substance use, but also improving protective wellness behaviors. This is how we have youth initiate the behavior change process. Research strongly supports goal setting for changing behaviors, and if you give youth enough practice with goal setting, they end up creating and developing self-regulation or self-control skills over time. If we want to look at some of the research that was conducted evaluating the one of prevention plus wellness programs, screening and brief intervention, the SPORT, which is the alcohol drug prevention plus wellness program, we can look at studies that were published, refereed articles that were published of controlled studies, randomization to receive SPORT, and the control and comparison group, baseline data collection, follow-up data collection, sometimes follow-up even a year later, and publications in these particular journals. And if we just summarize the findings across all of those studies, these are the 7 points I want to highlight. And that is, these studies showed that the single session SPORT alcohol drug prevention plus wellness program significantly decreased alcohol use, and a bunch of measures of alcohol use, by the way, which I think are important: initiation, quantity, frequency, binge drinking, even alcohol problems, and at the same time, significantly increased physical activity, very important. Reduced cigarette smoking with some effects even a year later. Reduced binge drinking, smoking, marijuana use, increasing physical activity among substance users for a year after the program. So effects were found for general population, universal prevention intervention, as well as high-risk substance users. Increased parent-youth communication. Under number 6, we did one study of 3 of the 4 flyers that we include in our SPORT prevention plus wellness programs, parent flyers, and those were found to significantly reduced alcohol use problems, marijuana use, and increased youth-parent communication. And lastly, a translation of the sport program into Turkish language that was studied in a randomized controlled trial in Istanbul by a nurse found that the Turkish language translation was effective in improving indices of physical activity, nutrition, sleep, and even mental health. So a lot of research on sport, and we continue to collect data on all of our programs and continue to assess it and improve our programs over time. We also have great qualitative data to help inform the quantitative data that I just reported. And so you can see in the words of youth themselves, these are actual quotes, what the reactions are from the young people participating in the sport program. You can see really some very important effects on preventing alcohol use, promoting healthy behaviors, increasing motivation, etc. Really, really important stuff. The evidence-based sport and In Shape. Sport is for youth, In Shape for young adults, alcohol, drug prevention plus wellness, screening, brief interventions. After these studies were conducted, after the findings were published, then and only then were these programs listed on evidence-based registries like Blueprints for Healthy Youth Development, the now-defunct NREM, etc. There's a bunch of these, are just some of them that are listed. Now let's transition and take a look at theory. Let's take a look at the conceptual model underpinning these prevention plus wellness screening and brief interventions. The key theory, the key conceptual model is a behavior image model, BIM. It's a marketing related theoretical roadmap. We say anybody can use to pick it up and create their own integrated prevention, substance use, or other risk behavior messages that also integrate and promote wellness. So for example, programs have been developed to for example, promote physical activity while preventing alcohol use, promoting racial justice while preventing racial discrimination. So these contrasting behaviors are integrated using the behavior image model. The behavior image model has two primary components. The first component is to communicate positive, aspirational, peer and social, as well as future images as values, and this increases motivation to change diverse health behavior. That's the first step, communicating positive, aspirational images about the health behavior as well as behavior. Secondly, is to use multiple behavior goal setting to initiate that behavior change and to increase self-regulation skills. If you were to look at a simplified logic model of how the prevention plus wellness screening brief intervention works based on the behavior image model, this is it right here. You start on the top block, and you notice the arrows go down. Start at the top, and what you would do as a prevention or health specialist is to first communicate behavior image messages that integrate wellness with usually substance use risk behaviors, although I think the behavior image model can be used with other risk behaviors as well. That influences under the second model, the light blue or green model, that cues, we believe, cues unconscious positive future and peer social wellness images of young people. That then, the third block, increases awareness of wellness images as values and risk behaviors as being undesirable. Then, the second to the last block, that increases motivation to set multiple behavior goals. And lastly, by setting and monitoring goals, this initiates the behavior change and increases self-control skills. So the focus of the behavior image model, the behavior image model and prevention plus wellness programs, screening and brief interventions, which are founded in the behavior image model, focuses on images and particularly positive images and behaviors. Now there's support for using positive images in three areas: theory, research, and practice. Regarding theory, there's a number of further common, in fact, to see in behavioral theories, such as possible self theories, where there's a focus on identifying image as being a key component that influences health behavior decision making, particularly among young people. Secondly, there's plenty of research in an array of different areas which supports this, which shows that image, particularly positive image, is influenced youth decision making. Research in self-concept, prototype images, possible selves, positive identity. You can do searches yourself and see how images are linked to youth decision making and health behavior. Thirdly, there's been decades and decades of use of appealing images by marketing and advertising firms and companies throughout the country and world. And there's continued reliance on, again, these positive images to sell products. So you can see the left, for example, the image to the left, we have a blanket, so we're selling a beer there. You got very happy, healthy, smiling young people, and so you're seeing positive images in play there. They're selling this product. What prevention plus wellness is doing, what we're doing with the behavior image model, is to sell not a product, but a lifestyle, a positive lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle. Also, I would say, under number 4, that to focus on positive wellness habits, we have found it to be more acceptable and interesting to youth, to parents, to community members, organizations, funding agencies. So you get to a certain point where, you know, the risk messages alone are not as useful or as accepted. And so this is why I think this transition and broadening prevention messages to address positive behavior and positive images is a winning combination. Now, there's 2 steps I'm going to share with you as to how we create, using the behavior image model, how we create these integrated messages, how we integrate the prevention of substance use with the promotion of wellness. The goal here, as you can see, is to trigger a mental picture of a healthy behavior and how substance use interferes. Now, there's 2 elements to this usually. There's vivid image terms like fit, active, healthy, successful, popular. These are all images as values that we want for ourselves, for our children, that kids want for themselves. They're universal self-image, desired self-images. Secondly, we want to show representations in illustrations or models. So that's why you'll see, for example, to the right, a lot of healthy, happy, lots of positive behaviors being demonstrated, and very much a diverse population of different ethnicities and activities and so forth. So 2-step messaging process. Let me explain it and give you an example. Step 1 is you want to identify the positive images and other benefits of a wellness behavior. There's the quote below. To the left, quote, young people as a target behavior who engage in regular physical activity, that's our wellness behavior, tend to feel energetic, sleep better, and look more active, fit, and confident. So you've got the image terms that are very, very powerful. They evoke unconscious images of ourselves in the future. Who doesn't want to be, or who doesn't wish to be more energetic, active, fit, confident? Very common, very motivational self images. And then additionally, other benefits, sleep better. So all of these things are linked to that wellness behavior, which in this case is regular physical activity. And then you see that image to the right. You see we're representing young females and they're getting engaged in some aerobic activity. The second part of the messaging then, after you've highlighted, number 1, the benefits, the images of that wellness behavior, is to link the risk behavior as harming it or interfering with it. So, quote, marijuana use, there's the target behavior, reduces your energy level needed to participate in regular exercise. and achieve your fitness goals of being in shape, looking good, and feeling fit and active. So it's as simple as that. It's just linking how the substance use or other misbehavior is a barrier to achieving those positive wellness behaviors and images. Another more broader example of this is here's where again, another example where we're showing how you've got in the left-hand column positive images and benefits associated with physical activity. And in the right-hand column, we're linking directly how marijuana is a barrier to physical activity. So it's a one-to-one relationship. So if you go to the left, one outcome from physical activity is number one is high energy. You go to the right, you can make the case for the fact that marijuana saps energy. So you can see how those are connected. Number three, physical activity makes you more active. Number three to the right, marijuana makes you have less motivation to exercise and therefore interferes with you being active. So that's the relationship, and that's how we link these. Of course, the second component, in addition to that positive image that I talked about associated with the behavior image model, the second part is goal setting. Here's the pattern or the template for a goal setting that we typically use in prevention plus wellness programs. Number one, there's a recommendation for wellness, sort of summarizes all the feedback. That's step two. Step three is the goal setting, of course. So you highlight all the behaviors, avoiding alcohol, marijuana, and all the drugs, increasing these wellness behaviors, physical activity, breakfast, nutrition, sleep, stress control. Secondly, pledging to avoid alcohol or drug use, whatever the drug is being targeted. Thirdly, identifying a wellness behavior to increase. Fourthly, listing a measurable behavior, so measurable, concrete, achievable behavior. 5, obtaining a co-signature, which increases motivation for change according to research. And lastly, number 6, very important, to congratulate youth, support youth, give them some directions as to how to proceed to monitor their goals and reset goals in the future. Now, lastly, let me give you some concrete examples of how we have linked alcohol, marijuana, e-cigarette, and opioid use messages and strategies in our programs. Let's start with alcohol, start with sport, which is our alcohol. And so we have an introduction. This is a part of the script. So there's just an introduction. Hello, what we're going to talk about. Together we'll look at habits to make you look better, feel better, improve your performance. So you can see the focus is on appearance, but even more important than that, performance in school and relationships and physical activities. 3 steps to all of our prevention plus wellness screening brief interventions, screening, feedback, goal setting. Here's the script. So you have a scripted prevention plus wellness program. You read the script. You're going to implement the screening survey to your youth. And so you follow the script, very simple. And you're going to highlight that this is confidential information so the youth can answer their screening survey and become aware of their health habits. Just to let you know and give you some sense of what we'll be talking about for the screening survey, what are the questions? Well, for the sport, I hope you don't hear the dogs in the background. My dog's sitting to my daughter's dog, so we have 2 dogs. So it's chaos here today. So some of the questions that give you some ideas as to what you could ask your questions as well is sports physical activities. Did you play in the last year? Number 2, did you participate in any physical activity for at least 30 minutes 4 or 5 times a day, which is a measure of regular physical activity. Number 3, a measure of social or environmental risk related to physical activity. Number 4, eating a healthy breakfast every morning. Number 5, getting 8 hours of sleep. And of course, because sport is largely an alcohol-focused prevention plus wellness program, the last question is about alcohol use in the last 30 days. Of course, these questions differ from whether the program, this is a high school program, there's a middle school program, elementary school, and based on that, based on those developmental levels, these questions become a little bit easier or a little bit different at least. What sports and physical activities did you play in the last year? That was the first screening survey question. So now we're going to provide feedback. And if you use your script, here it is, here's the benefits. Remember the two-step process, benefits of wellness behavior, how substance use harms it. So here is the benefits, good for you. Sports, physical activities are a great way to get regular exercise. They're fun, they help you look fit and strong. Those are very powerful image-evoking terms. Feel good about yourself, give you lots of energy. Then there's the slide that come with Prevention Plus Wellness programs. So you have the content in the left of the slide. You have those image terms, fit and strong, other benefits, fun, feel good about yourself. And then you've got images to the right in this slide, different ethnicities playing a positive physical activity, because that's what the message is about. That's the first part of the messaging, highlighting the benefits and the images. The second part is how substance use harms physical activity and sports. And here's the content. This is out of the script. However, an active lifestyle, alcohol don't mix. Alcohol hurts your performance, not just in sports, physical activities in school. It can have a negative impact on your health and relationships with friends and family. Very, very important to young people. There's the slide. There's the PowerPoint slide highlighting for the visual learning, the content, and then showing that positive image. We want to have representations so that young people could see themselves in those very positive images. Then beyond that message, you've got additional feedback that you'd be providing with the sport, alcohol, drug program, addressing those other screening survey questions, those other behaviors, physical activity norms, breakfast nutrition, getting adequate sleep, and then of course alcohol and drugs, and addressing a little bit broader range of topics in the alcohol drug area, because there are a number of things that influence substance use. So we want to address some of them. You can see the list here. Alcohol can harm your fitness, but also cause life problems. There's myths about substances. Most youth do not drink. It's a very important social norm message, all the way down to recommendations for increasing your wellness. Now, that's the sport. That's the alcohol drug prevention plus wellness program. Again, screening, brief intervention, three-step process, screening, feedback, goal setting. What about the marijuana and vaping prevention plus wellness program? Well, very similar, because the marijuana and the vaping prevention plus wellness programs are spin-offs and modifications of the sport alcohol PPW program. So you're going to have the same measures for the most part: physical activity, regular physical activity, social norms, nutrition, sleep. But obviously, when you get to marijuana, it's going to be a measure of ever marijuana use. When you get to vaping, it's going to be a measure of ever using e-cigarettes. If we contrast that with the opioid PPW program, a little bit different, because the opioid prevention plus wellness program is modeled after InShape. That's our young adult prevention plus wellness program. So the difference here is that you have messages about two different types of physical activity, both moderate and vigorous. And then there's a whole message on stress control. And then, of course, obviously, because we're talking about the opioid PPW program, where there's an assessment, a screening survey assessment on a 30-day non-medical opioid use. So these are the differences in the screening survey questions when you go from sport, which focuses on alcohol, to the marijuana and vaping PPW program, to the opioid PPW program. All of our screening surveys have three options. So you have a hard copy of your program manual. You can just hand out the screening survey for you to complete if you implement it online, in person, I should say. But if you implement it online, the slides of the PowerPoint slides show the screening survey questions. So you can ask your youth to complete them on a blank sheet of paper, no problem. Or more recently, we've also added a link in our screening in our slides, so that you can have youth click on the link and go to a Microsoft document and complete the screening survey online. So you get options. We're always trying to make this very easy, very flexible for use, whether you implement your screening survey in your program to youth in person, either individual or in group, or online. Now let's take a look at some more feedback examples. Here's the benefits of sports and physical activity script for marijuana and vaping PPW. And again, very much like the sport alcohol. Good for you, sports, physical activities, fun, help you fit strong. The slides, content's pretty much the same, a little bit different images when you go from a marijuana to a vaping. But that's just to have differences so that if you wanted to show the sport alcohol program one week and then vaping next week and marijuana next week, you're able to do that. But the difference here is how, in this case, remember sport focused on alcohol, here the marijuana PPW program, how marijuana harms physical activity sports. You can see the content here, marijuana, active lifestyle don't mix, so it's not addressing alcohol. Marijuana can hurt your health, affect how well you do sports, physical activities. How? It can hurt brain development, lung function, increased risk for mental health issues that can hinder you being successful in school and sports. That's the marijuana program, how marijuana interferes with sports and physical activities. There's the images there, positive images, and then of course the content. How about e-cigarettes? Well, e-cigarettes, we had a little bit more content, so you can see the feedback here. Vaping, e-cigarettes, active life don't mix. Using e-cigarettes like Juul could hurt your performance. How? Contains nicotine, other chemicals, lead, affect brain, affect learning, produces harmful chemicals, diacetyl, cause lung disease. A little bit more content, but nonetheless, same concept. You're now showing how e-cigarettes interferes with harms the wellness behavior, which is sports and physical activities. There's the slide, there's the content. How about feedback with regard to opioid PPW program? So let's take the opioid feedback on a regular, regular moderate physical activity, at least 30 minutes. And it's defined, they're given examples, fast walking, slow biking, skating, dancing, swimming. There's the benefits. A little bit more content here in the opioid PPW program. So content level varies from one prevention plus wellness program to another. Again, remember opioid PPW is fashioned after model after the InShape program. So a little bit different because the focus here. And this message is what's the benefit of moderate physical activity? And now, and there's a slide by the way, and now how does non-medical opioid use harm moderate physical activity? There's some really good content there. So you're linking how non-medical opioid use interferes. You can't engage in moderate physical activity if you're drowsy, if you have a mental fog, if you have nausea, if you're constipated, which results from the use of non-medical opioid use. And there's the slide, there's the content, and there's some images, happy, healthy young people. Other topics that are addressed in the opioid program. Again, you can see some other stuff. A little bit different content here with opioid because we wanted to address those things that the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, that SAMHSA, said is important. So that's why we wanted to build in defining prescription opioid misuse, signs of overdose, treating opioid use disorder, and opioid use treatment and prevention work. Lastly, we're going to get to this recommendation, or lastly, in terms of feedback, we're going to provide a recommendation for your youth in terms of wellness. So in terms of the sport alcohol program, as well as the marijuana vaping PPW program, notice number 5, you're going to highlight, depending on which program, but you're going to avoid you're going to recommend all of these things, avoiding marijuana, alcohol, e-cigarettes, opioid, everything, and 4 healthy behaviors. Number 1, plenty of sleep. Number 2, eating a regular breakfast and plenty of healthy foods like fruits and vegetables. Number 3, lots of physical activity every day. Number 4, practicing self-stress control or relaxation. And under the heading of opioid PPW, because again, the screen survey were different, therefore the feedback, the recommendations are, again, you get plenty of, actually 30 minutes of moderate physical activity, 20 minutes, at least every day, 20 minutes of vigorous physical activity, exercise, manage your daily stress, eat a variety of healthy foods, get 8 hours of sleep, and of course, Most important, to achieve all of these fitness goals, avoid non-medical prescription and illegal opioid use, but then also other substances that can interfere with you living a healthy lifestyle. Built within all of these are slides and questions to get young people to reflect, to stop and think, reflect on their own behaviors, and they have interaction. And then, of course, there's that goal-setting component, which is so important to initiate that behavior change. We have goal setting in 3 options, just like we did the screening survey. Get a hard copy of the goal plan, which you can implement in person. But if you're implementing your PPW program online, you can use the PowerPoint slides, and that includes the slides, and have these complete a goal plan on a blank sheet of paper, or click on a link on a slide and go to a Microsoft Doc and complete a goal line, a goal plan online, and then print out a copy. Built within Prevention Plus Wellness programs, again, these are screening brief interventions, pre-test and post-test surveys, instructor survey, fidelity checklist, all of that comes with PPW programs. A pre-test, post-test survey is awesome because it's designed for you to implement before and after your single session screening and brief intervention lesson, whether it's sport, whether it's marijuana PPW, whether it's vaping, whether it's opioid PPW, doesn't matter. You implement your screening survey, you launch your lesson, you implement your, you implement your pre-test, you launch your lesson, which is screening, feedback, goal setting, then you implement your post-test. The post-test comes in both a scannable and online form, very easy to collect, particularly online. You don't even need to touch the data. We provide the data to you. We can even provide you with a brief analysis and a very great breadth of measures, behavioral intentions, which is a most highly predictive measure of future behaviors on 5 substances: alcohol, cigarette, usually alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana, alcohol, cigarettes, e-cigarettes, and other illegal drugs or opioids. And 4 healthy behaviors: nutrition, sleep, goal setting, and stress control. And as well, the post-test has qualitative open-ended measures, which are very, very important to help understand and promote your program and improve it over time. We also have an instructor survey. This is self-assessment by instructors to monitor themselves and ensure that they implement their programs with fidelity and efficacy. So let me just conclude 4 very important points. Number 1, the epidemiology of chronic disease risk behaviors among youth and their relationship to substance use highlight the urgent need for prevention professionals to integrate content to promote physical and mental health, to integrate substance use prevention with wellness promotion. Secondly, theory, research, and practice indicate that evidence-based screening and brief interventions can and will be effective and can even be effective in integrating, as our programs have shown, Prevention Plus Wellness programs have shown, effective in integrating prevention and wellness in this very brief screening and brief intervention format. Thirdly, there's a ton of examples that I just showed you some of how we have integrated alcohol, e-cigarettes, marijuana, and opioid messages with the promotion of wellness behaviors, physical activity, sports, breakfast, nutrition, sleep, stress control, and more. And so you see these as models and examples that you can use from what we provide, or you can create your own using the behavior image model. If you're interested in learning more, our website, preventionpluswellness.com. For those of you that don't have the resources now, let me highlight something for you. Go to our, let me show you. On this page here, in the upper left-hand corner, you see those 3 horizontal bars. You click on that. That's a symbol for the menu. And you click on resources, and there's a bunch of free resources there for those of you that want to promote wellness behaviors and to prevent chronic disease as well as substance use among youth. So more holistic strategy for youth and young adults. You can find those resources We've got our programs, we've got our training, but we've got free resources under the heading of resources on our website, preventionpluswellness.com. And if you drop in your name, that's all you have to, I should say, drop in your email, that's all you have to do for signing in. That will get you, we will send you regularly, weekly email blasts of free webinars and other resources. So if we can help in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Again, most importantly, our website, preventionpluswellness.com. Email us at info at preventionpluswellness.com, or if you need to call, not a problem. There's our number, 904-472-5022. You can see these things on our website as well. At the base of our homepage, you can find our contact information, again, preventionpluswellness.com. So I'm going to stop at this point. I'm going to pause. We've got a couple more minutes. I got through it all very quickly. I know. I apologize for the lack of participation in this. We just had so much to cover. So thank you for your patience. Let me see if anyone has any comments or questions. You've got two options here. You've got Q&A and you've got the chat space. So feel free to type in any questions or comments. So let's see here. So we've got a comment from Jose. Getting the students back to school, social emotional learning is a huge request from my administration. So definitely this fits that bill because you're talking about physical, mental health promotion. You're talking about the skills of goal setting, self-regulation. Fits beautifully within social emotional learning. And certainly our programs address, we even have it on our website, I think, that how I think our sport program addresses health education standards. Did you say the slides would be available? These slides that I showed you today, I will send to everybody as a PDF. The link to this recorded webinar, I will send to everybody. So you will get that information. If you want to request a sample of any of our programs, that's different. I'll include that in my email in case you want to request and take a look at any of our programs. So yes, you'll be getting a PDF. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Let me see if there's any. I didn't want to miss any other questions. Hi to Kim. You're welcome. Any other questions? Last chance. If you have a question, you have a comment. Now's the time to type it into the chat space. Website and number slide again. Website is preventionpluswellness.com. Preventionpluswellness.com. And you'll be hearing from us because you've registered for this. So I'll be sending you some information. Hello, Patricia. Hello from Texas. Hello from California. That's awesome. Georgia, look at this. This is wonderful. We got people from all over Indonesia. How wonderful is that? How exciting is that? That's incredible. Thank you so much, all of you. God bless you for what you do for youth and families in your areas. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. How can BMI, is anonymous, how can BMI be measured and through which research tools? That's a rather complicated question. You could look at our published research on our website to get a sense of that, but feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you about that. We do have one webinar where we actually show you how you can use the BMI. That's the behavior image model to create your own prevention messaging. But what we found out in the past is most prevention providers are too busy. They would prefer to just take what we've done and tailor it and then go from there. That saves them a lot of time and energy. But if there's a topic that's not addressed, a health topic and the behavior image model may be very effective in addressing something new, for example. Hopefully I've answered that question. We got 6 new messages. We got people saying hi from, thank you, from different parts of the country. Let me see here. Let's see, getting students back to school. We saw that slides. You're welcome. Thank you for attending. Yes, the slides will be sent to you. Yes, the slides. I've sent the slides, the PDF of these slides will be sent to you. Yes, Kim Maryland. Hello, Kim. You're welcome. You're welcome. I will send everyone a certificate for 1 hour of CE, CEU. You just type your name in it. Thank you for asking that. Thank you for liking what we do. Thank you, Virginia. Can these slides be used on a website outside of your program? We need resources. Yes, you can take these slides as long as you've got, listed the cover page shows that they're for prevention plus wellness. Yes, you can definitely use these slides. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Thank you for being the true prevention and health heroes in our country and in our world. Thank you for Maryland. Thank you. Awesome. All right, that's it. I think we're done. I think I've covered as much as I can. If you need anything, again, reach back out to me, preventionpluswellness.com, and look forward to helping anybody who needs help, either through our programs or training or through our free resources, trying to help anybody we can in any way we can. Again, have a good day. Stay safe. Be well, and look forward to hearing back from hopefully all of you someday. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.